Okay, friends, today we are going to talk about silhouettes and how they are used in art, as well as using analogous color combinations when painting. So let's first talk about silhouettes. A silhouette, and I'm sure you're familiar with what they look like. They're usually an image of a person, an animal, or an object that is shown as a solid black shape with its edges matching the outlines of a person or object. A silhouette appears as a solid shape. So often it's the outline of an image, and then it's often filled in black, almost looks like the image is in shadow. So here's a little bit of the history of silhouettes. Between 1500 and 1860, profile portraits were a popular way for artists to create images of a family member or loved one before the invention of photography. And photography was invented in the mid-1800s. So before that, artists would either paint or cut profile silhouettes using scissors. And a profile means the image of a person shown through a side view. So often silhouettes, you'll see a side view of the person or sometimes a side view of the animal. Because a frontal view, if we did a front view just in shadow or outline, you wouldn't see the details such as the edge of the chin or the lips or the tip of the nose or the forehead. So you get a lot more detail in a profile silhouette versus a frontal view. So at first, silhouette portraits were all cut by hand, which was very intricate. Obviously, you need a pretty good pair of scissors to do that. But when machines became invented, tracing machines became invented in the 1800s, silhouettes were much more easy to reproduce. So it was a quick and cheap way for a person to have their portrait made. So here you see a bunch of silhouettes probably made in the 1800s by a tracing machine. Now, there are artists who work with silhouettes for their artwork, and one of the most famous artists who uses silhouettes is Kara Walker, and she's a contemporary African-American artist, which means she's still working today, and she is very interested in exploring issues of slavery and race in her artwork. So a lot of her images connect to slavery during the Civil War era. And here's a big installation of her silhouettes. They are all cut by hand, and this is the silhouettes, each of them are probably close to life size, each of the figures. And here's another one of two figures. Looks like these figures represent African Americans during the Civil War era, looking at how they are dressed. Okay, so some other silhouette artists, boy, these are very, very intricate cut work. They probably had to use X-Acto knives in order to cut some of these amazing details within the landscapes for each of these. And a couple more. All right, so what we're going to be doing for our next project is combining silhouettes with painted backgrounds, and we're going to use analogous color combinations in order to do that. So let's talk about that a little bit. So analogous colors, I know that sounds like a very scientific word, but all it means in art is colors that are side by side or next to each other on the color wheel. So they share things in common and similar relationships. They blend very, very nicely together. That's why you often see them when you're creating a landscape, sky. What you don't usually want to do is go across on the wheel, because say if you blend yellow and purple or green and red or blue and orange, those colors will neutralize and you will get browns and grays. So here we have two analogous color combinations, this one being a cool color combination with blues, blue greens, and purples, and this one being a warm color combination with reds, oranges, and yellows. So here's a traditional sunset painting using a combination of reds, red, oranges, oranges, yellow, oranges, and a little bit of yellows to create this beautiful dramatic sunset sky. Or the other end of the wheel using more violets, blues, blue greens, and purples. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy the analogous color art activity for this week. Right, see you soon.